we're really going to be doing in the next 3 lessons is taking our knowledge of how to add and subtract integers, positive and negative whole numbers, as well as, how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide positive and negative whole numbers, as well as fractions. So we're going to combine them, like you see here. So I'm betting you would be able to figure this out. What might be the first thing you do to this question? Perhaps you haven't seen one like it before with negative fractions. But if I said this, don't write this down. Let's say that. What's the first thing you would think of? Romy?
Changing the add to.
Yeah, change that to a minus, right? Nothing changes. Don't let the fractions throw you. So we're going to change this to negative 5 over 8 minus 7 over 2. And now it becomes a fraction subtraction question where we have to find common denominators, but we just got to watch out for the negatives. What's the lowest common denominator? 8. So I don't have to change this one. But this one changes to 28 over 8. Now this is where students will often make mistakes. They'll forget the negatives. What is negative 5? Because remember, we can put the negative up top, right? Negative 5 minus 28. What is negative 5 minus 28? 23? That's plus, that's adding. That's the answer if you add that. Yeah. Negative 33. And remember, we still got it over 8. Can you reduce that? No. Done. Okay. So like I said, there's really nothing new here. We're just combining two things you guys already know how to do. In the second one, well, I don't have to combine any signs because there's no parentheses with two signs beside each other. So I can go straight to a common denominator of 12. Remember, the first one's got a negative in front. So negative what over 12? 3. This one becomes 26. That's what I heard. And now we're ready to go. Add the numerators. Negative 3. Don't forget, there's a negative. Negative 3 plus 26. 23. Denominator stays the same. Can I reduce? Yeah. Try the next one on your own. See if you can do that one. It's just improper fractions. There's really nothing different than the previous questions. Okay. So what does this look like when you go to common denominators? Negative 20 over 6 plus 17 over 6 equals negative 3 over 6, which is negative 1 over 2. Yeah, that's it. How about this next one?
Coach Dave.
Denominator 2.
Denominator of 6. So first one doesn't change, but the second one becomes 8 over 6. Now we've got 5 subtract 8. Negative 3 over 6, which just like the previous question,
Reduces to 1/2. Okay. This next one, you got to do a little work before you start going to common denominators.
what does this become? Adding. So change it to an addition question. Negative 5 over 4 plus 16 over 5.
And now go your common denominators.
Lowest common denominator is 20. So the first numerator becomes negative 25.
Second one becomes, it's a little big,
64.
and now we've got to think negative 25 plus 64. Remember, this one, I mean, if you're having trouble doing it in your head, pull out a calculator. It's okay. Nobody's going to judge you.
What do we get? 39 over 20, which can't be reduced. And remember,
I should have mentioned this at the beginning. Any improper fractions, we don't need to change to mixed numbers,
we do need to make sure it's reduced.
which this one is. Okay? I think we're getting the hang of this. Oh. We're going to do one more.
Common denominator of 8. So first one becomes 20 over 8. Second one doesn't change. Subtract the numerators to get negative 19 over 8.
Good. Okay. And we're going to see when we do multiplying and dividing, same rules apply.
Okay, nothing really changes. We just got to watch out for we're using positives and negatives. Okay, let's look at a couple of work problems. So at the beginning of June, a snowblower company had $235.46 in debt. That makes sense because it's the summer. By the end of August, the company had increased its debt by negative $156.71. How do you write that using a rational number?
$235.46 in debt. Negative
235.46. That's how you write the first one. The second one,
is another debt of $156.71.
so again, negative
$156.71, or sorry, 156.71. We don't put the units. So how do we find
how much money they owe?
add them together? Right.
So it's going to be negative 235.46, and because I've got double signs here, I'm going to use parentheses.
156.71. Should recognize now that that changes to a subtraction, and this, I mean, obviously,
A calculated question.
and you should get
negative, and then I'm going to put a dollar sign because I'm going to put the units in because it's my final answer. Negative $392.17. But how do you convert that? How would you say that as a sentence? Using words. Ava?
Oh, 39. 392 please.
Right. Yeah. Or the company is $392.17, or O's, doesn't matter. Both are correct. In debt. Yeah. Notice when we write the sentence, we don't put the negative. Because it doesn't really make sense to say that you're negative something in debt or you owe negative something. If you owe negative something, that's actually adding. Right? Because O is negative, OWE. And another negative make it positive. Just like this next one, you got to be a little careful with. A diver jumps off a cliff that's 14.7 meters above sea level. After hitting the water, he plunges 3.8 meters below the surface of the water before returning to the surface. What's the difference in height from the top of the cliff to the bottom of the dive, his dive? So this would be a question where you would be expected to write an addition or subtraction statement and then give the answer along with a brief sentence. Okay? So how would we say this? What if I said this? You don't have to write this. So here's the water. We know this is 14.7 meters. Okay. And then we know that he goes another 3.8 meters below. So how would you figure out the total length of his dive from the top of the cliff to where he bottoms out before coming back up? Romy? Yeah, you can just add those two together. Right? Or let's do that much. And then we would get 18.5. So we would just say the difference is 18.5 meters. Another way you could write it using rational numbers, to find the difference between something, difference means what operation? When you find the difference, subtract. So what you could have done is you could have done, okay, he starts at 14.7 minus, but then he goes negative 3.8 below. So that's another way you could write it. Both of these are correct because this is just a simpler form of this. Okay, so I would accept either one, but that's another way you could write it. And that would be just as correct. Because then you would go to this, and then you would go to the answer, and away you go. Okay. Okay.